great. If not, as always, hope it gets better for you. So I accidentally set it up in a vertical mode here. Tried to set it back into horizontal, but it did not let me. So it is what it is. And we are back for another Friday Night Live Q&A. I'm just kind of running in here, getting all set up because I was busy taking a dad nap on the couch. And I tell you what, it was a pretty good one. It was a pretty good one. Well, I hope you guys are all doing great, having a great week, and also super excited about what's going on here. Started a huge project that is going to change a lot of what I do and actually allow me to do a lot more. And I'll be excited to make a video for you guys about it, which hopefully I'll have out this Wednesday coming up. Do got a video for you guys coming out tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. We're actually going to do a full-on tour of Lady LRB's plant tour. I got that already edited out and ready for you guys. New editing spot has been working out really good. So excited about that and having a more long-form content for you guys. And once again, sorry we're on vertical live here this week. Did not mean for that to happen. I have to keep it horizontal. Let me go ahead and get into all messages. Good to see you guys all in here. Hello. And the whole reason why I do this is to help you guys out with your aquariums, whatever it may be, with your fish keeping philosophies, trying to understand your aquarium, parameters, whatever it may be. That's what we're here for, to help you out. And the great thing about these live streams is you just never know what we're going to come up with, what questions are going to be asked, and how it makes the brain really work, because I do things a little bit different than a lot of people do as far as the rules you go by for aquarium. I tend to break a few, but it's really me connecting with nature and trying to help that philosophy intertwine with the way we keep them in our aquariums. But that's what we're here for. So hopefully we get some good stuff out of this live stream. Johnny Best says, do painted red Neos when they breed, would culling be required? So that's really up to the lineage and how they like look when they're coming out. So the thing with painted reds is often with the babies, you can't always see it. Sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't. I've pulled them to where like the most beautiful ones that I thought weren't going to be that good actually ended up growing out to be some of the best ones I've ever seen. So it's really hard to call them when they're young. I would say if you're really trying to call them out for specifics, wait till they're like more of a sub adult to really make that choice of whether you want to call them or not. But it can help the line to make it more solid. Matter of fact, some people have done it to where like the painted line on the back is just super wide, almost covers the whole body. Davo says, rules? There are no rules, right? I'm pretty sure they're made up as everything goes. That's what it seems like. Nothing wrong with the feed tonight. That's good to hear, Bill. So if you guys got questions, that's what I'm here for. So I'm at the bottom of the chat. If not, I'm going to just ramble on about God knows what. Johnny Best, thank you so much for the support and for gifting that membership. Really helpful right now, especially once you guys see what I'm working on. I think you guys are going to be super excited about it. And also, I guess I could talk about the website. I usually don't always remember towards the last, but since it's slow, I do have killifish on the website. So I know a lot of you guys been waiting for me to get more killifish, really good prices on them, and want to get more killifish out to all y'all guys. So you that have been waiting for killifish and me to get more, finally I have. And there may be a few trout Gudians. I don't know if they're still on there, but there may be. Mexicali Fish Keeper, did you figure out what was wrong with the mascara barb tank? Yeah, so as far as what I mentioned in the video, the overfeeding was pretty much the main cause of that. And from that overfeeding, fungals and bacteria were able to eat off of it. Something else ate off of it. It had to be something that come from the wild from when I brought them back in that went into their tank. Whether it had something to do with the green algae, I really don't know. It was the only tank that had that. So that was weird. Besides that, I don't know if the medicines really helped or hurt. And a lot of people said I could have moved them out to another tank, but I wanted to move them to a hospital tank, but with fish that big, I didn't have an extra tank to put them in. And sometimes you stress them more by doing that, and you really risk the potential of tracking that stuff elsewhere. So, say I had that green algae on the top, and I go dipping a net in there. I go pulling those fish out, and they start flapping that water everywhere. It's guaranteed to get into another tank that's in my fish room because it's just gonna flop in one direction. Especially if you're trying to catch that many fish, it would have been a headache. It would have been a nightmare, and could have just made things worse. So that's the only reason why I did not move them out of a tank and put them into a hospital tank, just because I didn't want to spread stuff around. With my fish room, it's very important that it's isolated. They're all each their own system for these things. And yeah, it sucked. It just sucked because I feel like if I would have had API fungal cure, I feel like I could have taken care of it and it would have been all right. So I didn't have the right meds, wasn't prepared. And that's a coulda, woulda. Like, who's to say that would have worked? But I've currently did not do anything special with the tank, kind of let it season out, let all that stuff kind of die back. And I've got a couple goldfish in there right now, and they seem to be doing pretty good. And I think they took care of the green algae stuff on top. I actually unplugged the power head, which even with the goldfish kept growing that green algae on top of the water like a biofilm. And after I unplugged the power head, then that green algae started either getting eaten by the goldfish or just went away. So that was really weird. That was really weird. But it seems like the natural system and the microbiology is back to where it should be. And I'm not really seeing anything as far as like parasitic causes, because when your fish gets that whiteness on their body, often it's from like a secondary infection that will cause that. And it's not. It's more of a fungal thing. So often, old rotten food creates a lot of fungus, and if your fish can't fight it off, it could be tough on them. So yeah, that sucked. That was definitely the last video I ever wanted to make because I had those fish for such a long time. Actually, if you make it to the end of that video, there's actually a link to the very first video I did when I first got them. I think it was like 7 years ago or something. Johnny Best says killifish been on my mind a good while. Well, there's quite a few different types on there, and bro, they are always on my mind. So I feel you. Do do do. I'm at the bottom of the chat, so if you got a question, that's where I'm at. This vertical mode is a lot slower than the horizontal. There's probably going to be some subscribers be like, "What is he doing?" Subscribe. So, well, you win some, lose one, some, and if they're that sensitive, then I mean, their own loss. Dave O says, I remember that video when you got them. Well, that's awesome. I still remember it too. And I actually lost almost half of them when I first got them because I stuck them outside in a pond, in like a dog bone pond. And I didn't know much about them. Nobody really knew much about them. And they're like no information. And barbs aren't really known in the aquarium hobby as jumpers. And with these barbs being quicker, faster, more wild, they were definitely jumpers. And I put them in with some Denisoni, which is the torpedo barb. And I didn't know that they came from the same waters. So I think they kind of drove each other out, half of each other. So that was a hard lesson I learned when I first got them too. But after I realized that, I took them all in, gave them a nice comfortable spot. Always made sure I had a lid on them. But hopefully with this new building project that I'm doing, not hopefully, but when it does get done, because I'm going to drive towards this so fast, like it's got to get done. But I should have a nice setup to where I could just move those barbs back and forth and be able to braid them fairly easy. Right. Mike 1993 says, "Hey, weren't you on Aquarium and Pet History?" I was not. I don't know what Aquarium and Pet History is. Is that like another YouTube channel? I mean, they may have shown something I've done, but I wasn't on there knowingly. Mr. What's in the Cooler says, my favorite local fish stores owner passed and they're looking for buyers. How do I save the store? Oh man, that sucks. Sorry to hear that. I would say the best way to go about that and trying to save the store, are you trying to do it yourself? I don't know what your financing is like, but if it's already operating and turnkey, and if the family doesn't really want it, there's a potential you could actually get a pretty good price with it just by taking over the lease. And as far as the business wise, what it brings in and the offered value, it's all kind of between you and whoever owns it. Technically now owns it. But there's definitely possibilities for acquisition of it if you want to really, really save it. And who knows what you could turn it into. Because, I mean, it could be a lot easier than trying to start a new store. Hippie Zombie says, do those cats really protect the fish? In a sense, actually, they kind of do because they keep squirrels out of my barn. They keep other, like, rodents away. Like, nothing wants to be in cats' territory normally. I can imagine they scare snakes away, birds away. So in a sense they do. But at the same time, last night when I was hanging out by my ponds and just looking around, because I actually recently put some blue gularis out there, and you guys will see these videos coming up, but they'll be in short form, which I've been doing a lot of shorts lately, almost one every day. But there was a snake that came into this pond that I had to put these blue gularis in, and it was like my best trio. And I thought that the snake ate the blue gularis because it just had this huge belly, but the cat's just out there just chilling, and there's an armadillo just scrounging around as well. So it does get a bit wild out there now that the fish or the wild of Florida have figured out that the fish in the ponds are actually back there. Like on the first year, it wasn't so bad, but Wesley, can you grab what you're getting, bud, real quick? Make it fast. Johnny Best, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Appreciate that, brother. Big help. That'll get me one of my 4x4x12 posts. So thank you. Thanks for the things you not just only do, but also show. Thank you. Well, you are very welcome. I'm glad I can help you guys, and really that's what I'm here for. So I could never thank you guys enough for the support. Okay, Oliver's. Who did? Johnny Bass again, my dude, gifting the memberships. I really appreciate that. And I know I'm terrible with doing extra things for my members, but your guys' member support is really important, really helpful. And it's hard for me to not to offer things to people who I know you guys pay for it, but I feel like the information should be free. So it's hard to I don't feel that good about giving like extra information for just if you got money or something, because not everybody's got money. I want to be helpful for everybody. But the support definitely helps build what we're doing here. And in turn, for those who do like to spend the money, especially on cool, rare fish, you guys help me conserve a lot of the fish that I try to keep. Because as the name says, you can never have enough aquariums. And currently, even with as many aquariums as I have, I truly do not have enough aquariums to like really get my rainbow fish breeding how I want. Like I almost have to evict my Tanzanian cichlids because I just don't have space for them. But I really don't want to do that. I've already collected them up, brooded them up, bred them out, lined them up, and I don't want to do that. So I need more tanks. And without you guys, I can't get them. Mike 1993, thank you so much for the dollar super chat. Appreciate you, Mike. Yeah, it's actually rare that I lose fish. Believe it or not, even with all the tanks that I have, it's very rare that I lose fish. And normally when I do lose them, I know it's going to happen because they're just like getting to that age. Which in the last short that I made, I was showing how I like to retire my fish into a more natural environment. Because they lived most of their lives in a inside aquarium and never really got to like feel that nature. It reminds me of like cows that have been in the barn and then it turns springtime and they first get to go out of the barn and frolic in the field. That's how I feel like my fish feel when I get to do that for them. It's getting Nona. Anyway, Aquatic Life says, I enjoyed the outdoor retirement pond. How many tubs you got going out there now of the black tubs? So currently I have 14 of the 110 gallons. I think I got close to 50 of the 50 gallons, or I think they're like 50 or 30 gallons. I can't remember how big they are. They may even just be 25 gallon. The smaller tubs. Christian B says, "Hey Lucas, how do you ship live fish orders?" So I use a breather bag, and then I ship them on a cloud that they ride real comfortable on. So if things do get jostled around, they won't so much. Which the breather bags make a huge difference in that. So when you're shipping fish and using a regular bag with air in it, I'm sorry, those rides are not that like steady. Like they go down conveyor belt machines that get dropped off of things, and you get a lot of splash when you leave air in the bag. So the breather bags actually help cushion a lot of that. But I do have a video. If you type in LRB shipping, it's from years ago, but it's the same as we ship now because it's always worked so well. Oh, Kitty's outside. Hey, babe, can you get Kitty? She's at the front door. She's meowing. Hippie Zombie says, King of DIY said you wanted a rematch when he got to your house. Yeah, I was trying to get him to do it. Like it would have made such a good live if him and I had a rematch in my living room. Could you guys imagine do that live? Could have hyped it up real good. It was actually Wesley's idea. Wesley came up with that idea. Aquarium Fantasy says, Lucas, would you ever do archer fish in ponds outside? So the only reason why I wouldn't do them outside is I thought they were jumpers. Aren't they like quite a bit? Like I can imagine they can jump really, really high. That'd be the only thing I would worry about with them. I don't know. I guess a lot of people keep them in open top tanks too, because really to get them to spit at stuff, you're gonna have to have your tank open. I don't know. I probably won't ever do them. Just never really. I mean, they're cool and all. They're kind of bigger fish, but there's a lot other rare fish that just need attention to be bred. That's mostly like rainbow fish and um, mostly rainbow fish. Actually, rice fish right now because I've got some wild genetics of rice fish going right now. Honestly, I almost don't want to talk about too much. Queen Blood of Ghosting says, "What do you do with the coal rejects?" So, as far as my shrimp that I cull, they go to the axolotls or the rope fish, and or a cold tank that I have for them. And then as far as the fish, which I don't have a lot of culls of unless they're like endlers. And the endler and guppy culls, they go into like a big meat mix group, which God, I got like probably 20 tanks of mixed guppies. And that's mostly because I've been trying to work on a bunch of different genetics. And then sometimes I get like I've gotten a few squiggly fish through some lines. And usually if I get those, I do not sell those lines. But for those, I give them their own tank. I should combine them all. I've got like some that have their own tank, but I should just like have like a just squiggly fish tank. I've probably got like three of those, 3 or 4 squiggly fish tanks. They all could probably fit in the same. There are those like Z-shaped. Their spines just didn't come out right. But for the most part, that's it. Because I can't kill my coals. I don't have a heart to just kill fish willy nilly. Mike 1993 says, I know you were on Father Fish's channel. I was. I've been on quite a bit of channels. There's not many channels I haven't been on. You shipped to Puerto Rico? I haven't. I haven't. I don't know if you're the same guy asking. I don't think you are, but somebody else has asked. Now that I'm in Florida, I mean, it's closer. Could potentially. I've got to look into it. Like, it's legal. It's totally legal. Like, there's no special laws about shipping to Puerto Rico. Lake Missoula Aquatics says, is there still several Goodyear fry growing out in the pond? So, in that one pond that I had taken them out of, I think there may be like 1 or 2 stragglers still left, which I got to get out because now I've got blue glarus in there. But I feel like I caught them all because I don't think they bred much during the winter. So catching them like right after winter was about the right time. Johnny Best says, I don't know how you do it. 100 plus tanks and just you all alone. It's nature doing it. That I would like to pretend like, oh, it's so tough. Like, oh, I do so much. But if you guys knew how much work I actually did towards like the tanks, it's really not that much. That's why I'm able to build on the side and maintain doing media for you guys on top of other stuff, and not scared to add more tanks. Really, my biggest drawback of um, my limit to how much I could keep would be how long it would take me to feed fish on a daily basis. And luckily, I already split it up. Like what's in the house, I feed in the morning, like right when I get up, and I go into the barn, wake up a little while. Usually takes a couple hours because the lights take a couple hours to kick on. And then shoot, I don't feed them until like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. But what I'll probably end up doing after I get this next build done is feeding everything in the house inside in the morning, and then everything that's outside in the morning as well, and then just the barn at night or afternoon. But tops would be like an hour of fishing or hour of feeding, which is, I feel like, the limit I'm setting myself currently, which I don't like to set limits, but I also don't want to be like 2 hours a day feeding fish. I think that would just be crazy. But I could add a lot because it only takes me like 15-20 minutes now. Fishberry says all the rice fish are gone at my LFS. Yeah, rice fish are usually a more seasonal fish towards the fall time. So when you start getting into the spring, especially, a lot of people want them for their tubs, and it's towards the end of what farms usually offer. It can be harder to find them. Christian B says, do you use USPS or another carrier? I used USPS. And we did offer, or well, we do offer express and priority, but really, right now, you're better off just getting the priority because the express is 2 days anymore, and the priority is 2 days. So there's not any difference besides just paying more. No, last couple times I've seen it, it's all been 2 days. Jump around, get out your seat and jump around. Bruce D says, "Hey Lucas, are you gonna have any platinum rice fish for sale?" So I've got a bunch growing out right now. Actually, I've got like probably 1,000 rice fish growing out currently. I just got to keep the wild nature off of them and keep feeding them. But they don't take too long to actually grow out either. I got some platinum rice fish that are probably actually ready, like pretty good size. But probably only like 6 of them or so. So I haven't added them to the website yet. Like 1993 says, do you have Crenum LRB? So I don't. Crenum really needs a lot of space. Big tank. Doesn't produce a whole lot. But it is a good like centerpiece plant. But business wise, it doesn't really make sense for me. It would be cool though, in that pond that I got in my fish room, like right in the center. But I'd have to like get rid of all my floating plants, which serve a lot of purpose in breeding. But that would look awesome. See a crenum have that much like surface area, be nuts. Hippie Zombie says, will you get a big tank like King of DIY? So I finally did get some 125s. Nothing like King of DIY's tanks, especially that 2,000-gallon tank. Oh, God. He's really been putting them together really well, too. Like, as far as the mixes he's been trying with fish and this way he's been setting them up, I'm proud of him, real proud of him. He's been doing good. And I really wish maybe one day, like where that pond is now that I was just talking about, that 470-gallon pond I have, where it's at, eventually I would love to custom something out there. And I don't know how much more bigger it would be, but it would definitely be bigger. It might push like maybe 1,000 gallons. But that's a big project. And yeah, I would say, I don't know, maybe in like 2 years or less, I could probably get there. But yeah, I still have time because my collectoritis, I have to end up getting smaller tanks just to keep more. And right now, I mean, I still don't have enough tanks, especially like when you're breeding fish, because you need like 3 to 4 tanks per species that you're breeding at least. Because babies growing out, you got to have your backup stock in case something happens. Because not all lineage is the same. Like I know there's a lot of fish out there, but the lines and how well they breed out aren't always the same. So when you work really good lines and you have really good lines and you get a hold of that kind of stuff and it's taking you time to get to them, you really, really want to back that kind of stuff up. Mr. What's in the Cooler says, now you're in Florida. Do you have any Elisoma? So I do have them in my like natural ponds, but I won't ever go fish them. Oh, I probably won't ever offer any of those because I would have to breed them to offer them, and I'm not really planning on breeding those. Um, Wild fish tanks. If you are looking for those, there's this guy called Wild Fish Tanks, Ryan McKinney. Love the dude, awesome dude. Um, he's always got those kind of fish, like the Florida natives. He's the guy. Wolf Toe says, "Do you think Julia chromis or Cauda punctatus would be better together with Lucipennis?" So I actually currently keep all those separated. I've never tried them together, any of them, but I have been thinking about it since I am running out of room for my Tanganicans, or well, needing their tanks for other things, just to kind of organize the fish room. Have thought about mixing them together, but I don't know. They're such territorial fish. And if they're not like right in front of my face, it would be hard for me to do it. So I am planning maybe here in the near future of doing a mix with those altogether. Cosman says, I was lured here by the Galaris thumbnail. Good. My master plan had worked. I'm glad I lured you in. And, that would have lured me in as well. And hats off to you for knowing what a Galaris is. Well, we have been talking about them. That Galaris that was on the thumbnail, and I'm glad you mentioned the thumbnail too. I should probably talk about my thumbnails because they will now vary as the lives go, and there's always a backstory to them. So those blue Galaris that I showed are actually the ones that I had put in my ponds out in the back, and I got a few different pairs of them, but that was the best trio I had. Jennifer Merva says, "Looks like you're doing good. How's Wesley?" Wesley is actually doing really good. He's trying to sneak in the fridge right now and get something. What's he looking? They're trying to be all quiet. Oh, he wants string cheese. But he's getting older. He's growing up, and a really good boy. I couldn't ask for better. Mike 1993 says, "My fish had a tasty live meal just now." Oh yeah, did you catch him a little bug? Did you feed him? I actually was a vegetarian at one point. And one of the things that turned me back to meat was one, I didn't feel like I was getting the energy, but two, I was feeding my fish meal and protein and everything else, and it was like, okay, so there goes the morality of it. Now I eat pretty much steak every night, or my favorite, crab legs. D1 Fish Guy says, "What is your opinion on filters for your fish tanks?" My opinion on filters for my fish tanks, for me, it's not necessary just because of the way I do things. I do feel like you could stock a lot more fish in something that has more oxygen, which I can stock a lot of fish in a no filter tank too. But, you know, I don't know. I mean, I used to use them a lot. They can keep the water cleaner and clear in some occasions. In some occasions, not always, because they can feed algae too and green water as well. Um, on my fish tanks for my fish, I don't need them. So, if you guys don't know, if you're new here, my whole fish room is all no filter. There is no filters in my fish room. And, I didn't just come to this overnight. It's so funny too, though, because I used to be. So I've been on YouTube for quite some time, and I got like pretty popular before I moved to Florida. And everybody was like, "Oh, you're the best. You do it so great." All this when I use filters. But boy, when I stopped using filters and I went against the grain, zip, people clammed up. My support went out the window. Some of you guys are ride or dies, have been here a long time, which I see some of you guys in the chat. You guys know I know who you guys are. And I appreciate your guys' support through all those changes. Because, yeah, it is a little different for what people normally keep, and people fear what they don't know. And I can't fault them for that, but I can help teach you guys what I'm doing. Whether you want to take the information or not, whether you believe me or not. It's so funny how like so many people believed me when I was doing filters, but when I started not doing filters, they're like, "Oh, whoa, 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 he can only do this because this, and this." But really, it's just a connection with nature, looking how nature does it naturally outside with no airlines, with no filtration. Like, granted, yeah, the ground does hold beneficial microbiology, which is all the same. I mean, there is some rivers, there's streams that move, but a lot of those dry out, turn into pools of water. Tons of fish will live in there until there's just like not enough food. That's usually the case, is just the lack of food becomes the demise. But it's all about the microbiology in there, having a live, healthy water, not a sterile tank. But yeah, a little bit of rant there. Ish Lopez says, thinking about starting up a pond out of one of those 13, 15-gallon whiskey barrel cleaners. Is startup the same as indoor tank? Any tips? Yeah, pretty much same kind of startup. Just treat it like a tank that you're going to start up. Nothing special. Nature will get into it. It'll do its thing. Just keep it simple, keep it easy. Try not to overthink it. Like, that's actually one of the biggest blockades for people coming into this hobby to begin with, is overthinking things. Because, yeah, you don't want something to happen to your fish. And so, and I know it's easy to say this because even when something was happening to my barbs, I overthought it a little bit, and quite a bit. Like, it's just very human and natural to do. And just make sure that your water is dechlorinated. It's aged a little bit, which, like, say, give it a couple days, give it a week, even better. And then just start small, like maybe add one or two fish, see how they do. Give that a week. If they're doing fine, you're all dandy. Maybe add a few more fish. and that'll help get the bioload, microbiology going, and should make your tank and aquarium keeping a lot more easier. And then the one common thing that you'll get, especially from box stores, is ick. So that will usually be your first disease that you'll see in those sort of situations. Which this is where a heater comes in play and can be handy, because if you do turn the heat up past 86 and just leave it for a month, it's the best way to treat ick in that new aquarium than throwing medications in it and killing a bunch of microbiology. That is helpful to your fish's success. But really, those are about the only things I ever have to deal with. Hook and line fishing says, I have a tank full of Montezuma swords and nobody wants any. Did you try the fish stores? Because even if the fish store guy doesn't want it, I know very often those wholesale guys, when they come in, and if they can get the fish for cheap, and say you just want to rehome them, you don't really care about like getting top dollar off of them. Those wholesalers will actually buy those fish from the fish store. But if you're trying to get your money from them, there's a lot of online options, and or I don't know if you have a club. Club meetings are always great for those sort of things. You just got to look out there. Like somebody will want them. You just got to be able to put them out. It kind of sucks. Facebook doesn't allow you to offer those sorts of things anymore. I think some people go around about ways of doing it, but kind of a pain. Hippie Zombie says, "Do you have any fish native to where you live?" So I got some Florida flagfish, which have always been one of my favorite killifish, along with the bluefin killifish, which I don't have any of those. Um, I've got a ton of just native fish out in my wild ponds that I could collect, and I would love to do a tank of them at some point outside to just like showcase them. But yeah, definitely got lots of native fish like the elastoma. They're talking about the pygmy sunfish. We've got some different killifish, lots of gambusia. Room 5 Studio says they caught some creek chub in the creek and put them in a tank. I don't think I'll keep them long, but since are wild, do I need to worry about parasite or other issues getting into tank from them? Potentially, it definitely could happen. And what I like to do is give my fish a fish bath, so you don't get any of that water that you had brought from the creek, and it helps like wash anything off the body of the fish. And then after that, what I'll do is look at the fish and see if there's anything like hanging on the fish or looks out of normal or out of place. Like if there's a fluke or a worm trying to stick to them or something like that. Usually you can tell. And besides that, then just like keep an eye out on them. And if they're doing okay, then they should be. Like parasites, you should be able to see if that's any issue. Room 5 Studio says, what would be the best way to treat wild caught fish? I wouldn't treat them just right off the bat. I would just watch them and then treat them if they need treatment. You should, a lot of people love to just like medicate fish just to medicate them. It's not like us humans, like we don't just sit there and take NyQuil just to take NyQuil. If we were just taking NyQuil just to take NyQuil, I don't know. Some people might just to help themselves sleep, but some people might call that like an addiction or something. Leslie needs a baby sister. Yeah. He Actually, we thought about it, but I don't know, man. We're 10 years in here. Start back over again. King DIY broke my heart when those tree trunks were plastic. Yeah, well, it's hard to get something like that natural and with weight. Bruce D, don't laugh at me too hard. Is it possible to make a rack with a 125 on bottom and a 75, 40, and 20 longs above? Um, you could. It would be tricky. I don't know how you would set the. I guess if you want to do 125s, 75, and then like 240s, you could do that. It's kind of weird where the 75 will lay out in the middle shelf, and the pressure on the ends might be a much, because it is better when you have your tanks like sprawled towards the connection point of your rack instead of like somewhere in the middle, especially with a tank as heavy as a 75-gallon, which could cause stress like just in those areas. So, saying that, I mean, you could put them together. It would get pretty tall with your 40s too. Like, you're going to have to jump the feed because with triple that height, it's going to be super tall. Because I did end up at the old house that I had, I did a 125 on the bottom, 125 in the middle, and then two 40s on the top. So you'd almost be better with two 125s and that 75 in the middle. Mike 1993 says, "How do you have no filters?" Mother Nature, bro. Mother Nature. I had my faith into Mother Nature, what God had created. Let me just say that. Connected with God. God told me, hey, go filterless, LRB. You don't need those. Hook and Line Fishing says, is the old fish house still going? It is still going. I talked to him a few weeks ago, and he said it's all still going. He just doesn't do as much as he should, but ain't that all of us? Sonny G says filterless carbon block and fish baths is the best advice given. Thanks, Lucas. Well, you're welcome, Sonny. Thank you for listening. And it's so true. Those carbon blocks are very helpful too. Which, if you guys, we talked about the fish baths, we talked about filterless, but the carbon blocks, if you guys are in the city, have chlorine, chloramine, anything like that, they make this carbon block that you put in front of your water line. That way, as the water comes through, it takes out the chlorine and other heavy metal contaminants and stuff, and makes the water so much better, not just for your fish, but for yourself as well when you're bathing in it, brushing your teeth with it, all that stuff. And also, when you're keeping rare fish and your water company decides to flush a ton of chemicals down to like clear out the lines or just sterilize everything completely in disregard of the chemicals that they actually put in there and what they can do to you. You can lose fish that way, especially if you don't know it's happening and they don't ever tell you. Some may tell people, but where I live, they never would. So it would always suck like that one time a year. They would surprise you with that dump of chemicals and it kill your rare fish that you just can't get anywhere else. And that carbon block helps fix that problem. Plus, it just makes water changing throughout the year and time a lot easier. A lot headache free. You don't have to worry about dechlor, nothing like that. Samson Bolton says, I found planaria pop up out of nowhere. It will do that. It will do that. Not really something to be scared of. Actually, a good food source for tanks. Awesome, Lepardo. Thank you so much for the order too. Glad you're looking forward to it. I really appreciate it. And for being a member, supporting. Definitely huge help. Hippie Zombie says, I finally put dirt in my tanks. Looks natural. Yeah, that's the cool thing about especially using your yard dirt is it just like the little things that are like added into the natural substrate just gives it so much more dimension and depth. Father Fish still has his filterless 25-year tank. Lepardo0573 says, Lucas, how do you start up a no filter outside tub? What is the best placement for it regarding the sun? And what kind of plants do you need to get to provide oxygen for the fish? So you can do it without the plants. You can do all this without the plants. It's not the plants that do it. It's the microbiology and just having healthy water, like live healthy water, not sterile water. And as far as placement for the sun, is good to get in the shady areas if possible. But as far as what I do outside, like it's in some get full sun all day long. I mean, I use whatever plants. Nothing like real special. Hey, King of DIY's in here. Notice me, Simpa. I see you, bro. Thank you so much for those loonies. Good to see you in here. And he's got more for me. He says Lucas's fish gallery really only has 8-foot tall ceilings. He's just as short as me, is all. So it looks taller. Boom, exposed. Oh man, secret's out now. Yep, I'm really just that short. But hey, I appreciate you, King of DIY, not calling it a warehouse this time. He kept coming over and calling it a warehouse, and I don't know. To me, it's not a warehouse, and so I appreciate you calling it a gallery this time. But thanks for coming in and exposing me, but supporting me while you expose me. What a guy! What a guy! All right, flagfish remind me of little bluegill. Yeah, same here. They're adorable. I actually didn't even mean to have all my flagfish. They just accidentally bred in a bunch of pearlweed with some rainbow fish. Dingo DIY says, who's this cutie? Does he have an OF? I do, but it's really expensive. Not cheap. Mike 1993 says, LRB, what do you think about the genetically modified dire wolves? Are they like they were millions of years ago? Scientists playing God. I think a lot of that is like a story to distract people from what's really going on. Kind of like, oh, we're gonna have woolly mammoths way back and whatnot, and they should already had those out. Like, where are those at? Like now it's dire wolves. Next thing you know, we'll be going to Mars. I think a lot of that is look over here, not over there kind of news. But if you're talking about playing with God, as far as the aquarium hobby, there is a lot of people doing crazy things. Especially, I've seen over in China where they hybridize and mix like DNA to certain fish and create things that just shouldn't exist at all, period. So there is more of that actually going on that they don't really talk about. See, scroll, scroll, scroll. And the good thing with those no filter tanks too is just the amount of outlets you don't need. Like you could put a tank anywhere. Once you learn that you can keep these no filter aquariums, like the spaces you could put aquariums just broadens even more. So for those with MTS, you're welcome. King of DIY. Little people, big things. Hear me out. Funny. All right, so we got about 4 minutes left here. If you got a question, I am at the bottom of the chat. That's where I'm at. If not, then I'll just sit here and scratch my head for a while. Gold Lakes Aquatics says, "What's with all the orange-eyed Neos now? Are they legit? Or are they worth the price?" Be honest, I didn't really know about them. It's definitely not common. What are you seeing orange eyes on? Like cherries or blues or like I know tigers have the orange eyes. You can get them on them, but I've never seen them on Neos. So really, if it's worth the price, if they're new and people don't have them yet, to be on the frontier of something new like that, it creates opportunities. Green jades, etc., reds, etc. I don't know. I have to relook at my Neos. I don't think I've ever seen any with orange eyes. I have to look into that. Sounds neat. That's the cool thing about shrimp is there is like little things like that you can breed out for. I know there's tends to typically be more in the Caridina species more than the Neos as far as like the eye colors. Sounds wild. But the question too is if there will be continued demand for them. Like, how many people really care about that? Or maybe they just want, there's more people who just want shrimp to start off with like just regular cherries. So when you do breed certain like things like that, it's more of the like deeper hobbyists that want that stuff. Were you going to say something, Wesley? Oh, I am on live chat. Thanks, bro. Jano says, "What's up, LRB? What are your top favorite Corys?" I would have to go with the Duplicarius, the Adolphi, the Pygmies. Those are just too cool, and that could be any of the like the Hastatus or the Pygmaeus. Um, I love golden lasers when they're small. I don't like them so much when they get older. I love when they have that gold color. I wish that would just like stay on them. Did see some green laser Corys. Those look pretty cool. There's these bigger like green ones that I can't ever remember the name of them. It's like Brocky something, Brocca something, broccoli something. I don't know, but those are really cool. Sturby has always been kind of a favorite. Pandas, the Mateas. I would say those are the ones that hit me first. Adrian's Fish Room. What's up, my dude? Glad to see you in here, my Aussie mate. Says, I would love a suggestion on a high flow tetra for my river tank if you have one. A high flow tetra. Because usually tetras, they like a lot of their natural habitat is flooded forests and stuff like that. So when it's the dry season, it's usually pretty calm. And even in the flooded season, they have calm spots within the forest. So a lot of them, I don't know if they're really designed that much for high flow all the time and how high a flow. Definitely maybe want to give them like somewhere to chill out because they do like that. But then I would go with like, your cardinals, the more torpedo shaped types, not as much as like the flat body types. The blue tetras, the Fredochis, or however you spell them, those blue tetras would be a good option. But yeah, not often they deal with a whole lot of high flow unless it's just like flooding season at the beginning. And there's so many tetras out there. I don't know what the Aussie market is like for tetras. And honestly, if it was me trying to pick it out, it would be those tetras that I saw in the store that I hadn't ever seen before. And I'd be like, yeah, those. And then they would just have to be high flow tetras. I would just make sure I gave them a spot to chill, like a rock. So say you got that high flow tank and then like you got a decent sized rock or in between two rocks. Just make sure it doesn't current and swirl in those rocks. But at least somewhere to get out of and off the treadmill at some point without having to turn the filter off. So I hope that helps you, Adrian. Good to see you in here, dude. Good to see you. Lepardo0573 says, how do you keep mosquitoes from taking over your tubs? Do you add some type of your fish to all your tubs to eat them? So, no, mosquitoes are very welcomed. Anytime to my tubs. They make good food source for my fish. If they lay eggs in there, even better. Another treat for them. But yeah, I don't ever have to worry about them. If I don't have a fish, now I will get larvae and then it will just start hatching out mosquitoes, which I don't really worry about too much because it's never really been a big issue. Because there's just enough dragonflies back there that eat them all pretty much. And then if not, then I will use the larva to feed some of my fish too. So it's really good for that. Hippie Zombie says, will Canada get an army and rule the world? There's a lot I would like to say about that, but I'll just leave it be. Johnny Best says, LRB, how do you create purple neos so it follows the color wheel? You can create purple neos with blue and red shrimp. And it will take a while just because of the genetics, but that's how you cross into them. If you type in LRB purple shrimp, you'll actually get a few videos on when I did used to create those. It was just such a hard genetic to line out, and I didn't never take the time to do it just because I didn't have time to do it. Doing all of what I've done here on YouTube for so long, there was a lot of other interests and things I got into. Granted, purple neos could have been a huge cash cow for me and really could have ran with it. At the same time, I was just still so fascinated with rainbow fish and other things. I just didn't have the tank space for them. So, as the name once again, never enough tanks ever. I probably set up probably close to 1,000 tanks now between the old house and this new house. It's pretty wild. And still not enough tanks. Adrian's Fish Room says, what do you think of rummy nose? Rummy nose on a high flow. I definitely feel like they would definitely feel that treadmill effect. That metabolism would really have to go and keep up with them. They are a skinnier fish. They are shaped for the flow. But whether if they could keep up, I don't know. They don't. To me, they don't. They're not usually the strongest tetra. They tend to can be kind of sensitive depending on where you get them, how you get them. So maybe not start them off the bat in the high flow tank. Get them to health first. That way they're not weak. Their immune systems are ready for it, and then they would definitely probably need a space to chill out and not be in the high flow, because they're more of like the kind of like float and dart around fish. Like, yeah, they'll swim everywhere here and there, but it's not like it's not as natural as what their normal behavior would be in a no filter tank. That's one thing with no filter tanks, is you'll see a lot more of the different natural behaviors instead of them having to chase the water or push themselves through the water. And yeah, I don't know. Rummy nose might be a tougher choice. Ish Lopez says, "How long is water sitting in a bucket good for to use for top off? Any reason or benefit to age water to put in your tank?" Oh yeah, definitely for sure. So, um, dust, debris, you may not see it, but believe it or not, it's all around you all the time. Particles are moving everywhere, and that stuff gets into those tubs, gets into those buckets, helps create that natural cycle of things of life and nature finding a way. And also, if you do age your water in a bucket, it will help you with those pH swings. So for those who do follow their pH, and when you first get water out of your tap, it has all those hydrogen molecules in there. It will really raise that pH up. Then, as it sits and settles over time, those hydrogen molecules go out of the tub or out of the water, and it becomes more steady and stable to what the water truly sits at. And so there's not a lot of changes there. And yeah, it helps kick that microbiology in more, and then let some of the not so good things settle. Christian B said God created mosquitoes to feed his fish. Exactly. Exactly. Lepardo 0573 says, and thank you, D1, says, what substrate do you recommend for outside pond if you don't have sand? I mean, your dirt in your yard could work, or you could even do rock. You could do whatever you want, to be honest. That substrate. Get creative with it. I mean, we've used some crazy stuff for substrate. We've used moss just for substrate. We use the sphagnum for substrate. Like this substrate back here in this tank is like a decaying plant that is just now substrate. And pretty much, if you go on my website, lrbaquatics.com, all those plants on there, like, they don't even need substrate. If you go to my video, LRB Unusual Floating Plants, like most of these plants, they don't even, the substrate's not even that important. Hippie Zombie says, will you get a salt tank? Maybe one day, maybe one day. Any fish will do. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Last Friday, you super chatted me as well, and I appreciate that too. I didn't get a chance to say anything because I had just hopped off, but dude, thank you so much for the support. Says Lucas, do you have a list of what you're breeding, even if not available? So I don't have like an actual created list of what I'm breeding because a lot of it changes, and sometimes I end up breeding stuff that I don't even plan on breeding. Like for instance, like my goldfish that I had been breeding, and it started taking more of my time. And yeah, I've never actually like created a full like list of it because everything's in my head. So even like the big projects I do, like a lot of it's just comes through my head through the day. Excuse me. Dad always kept a sponge filter in the tank. I used to do that too. There's nothing wrong with it. Definitely nothing wrong with it. Ish Lopez says, so time frame wise, does the sit in water have expiration a couple of days a week? No, it doesn't have an expiration. It doesn't, as long as it ain't like growing some crazy wild craziness, then you're good. No, it'll be good. It's nice aged water that hasn't been, had water fed into it. I mean, food fed into it and other things. Yeah, it could go a long, long, long time. All right, so we're after the hour mark by far, and I got a lot to do tomorrow. I got important things to do tomorrow, and I'm gonna be excited to share them with you guys next week. Next Wednesday, I should have a video out on what I'm doing. But tomorrow we will have a video of the plant room with Lady LRB hosting it all, which actually turned out really good. And it was kind of weird because she did something weird in it, but you guys will have to see when it comes out. But anyways, I appreciate you guys all so much for the support. It's huge right now. Thank you, thank you. And hope you guys all have a great weekend. And thanks for joining me. Till next time, everybody. Peace. Have a great one. Do 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 do.